Actually, the week of the pandemic is the first week I went out, which was horrible timing. But
Oh, I think I remember that.
I was
That's
so
right.
upset. But that's when I finally decided. I was like, great. I finally decided to take the leap and worldwide pandemic. But
well, and that's what we want to do here. We want to take you to the next level. We want you to achieve your goals.
Well, Erik, welcome to the
thank you.
pod, to Fred Talks. It's great to have you here. It's great to get to pick your brain, see what's going on. How's everybody's week's going? How's everyone's weekend?
Good, man.
Good.
Hopefully you guys went out and voted.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's your most
Absolutely.
important right as an American. It doesn't matter which way you go. Just make sure you get out there and vote.
that's right.
Nice. Good stuff. All right. Well, Erik, Whitley and I don't really know anything about you. We just love your tacos. I honestly love eating there, and Dad takes me there all the time. It's great. But what got you started? Like, what's the backstory? I have no idea what you're about, so let's get into it.
Yeah, for sure. It kind of started just on a dice roll.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we just started, and we started at a market.
I started that one. Sorry.
Yeah, we started at a market right down in Sicking Spring every Sunday. You know, you can kind of set up, do your thing, and we just kind of tried it, see if it was going to work. You know, I always loved tacos, and I felt like I just kind of want to express myself through tacos.
Are you originally from here?
Yeah, I grew up in the city. I mean, we
Okay.
moved around a lot when I was younger, but I lived in the city for the majority of my life.
Cool.
And but yeah, we did the market. It went great. You know, a lot better than we expected. So I started saving up my pennies and stuff, and you know, my job. And then next thing you know, I had enough to get my food truck, and I came across a great opportunity, and I jumped on it.
That's
And then
awesome.
from that, we just, you know, the food truck last year just absolutely took off. You know, we crushed it. You know, and I have that mentality where I just go for it. You know, if I'm gonna put myself out and put myself at risk, I'm gonna just jump in. And you know, there's no turning back. You know, once you leave, like you said, you leave a stable job, you leave everything behind. And you know, when I did it, we had a kid. My wife's still partially in school and working, and it's a big leap. But I knew if I didn't take the jump, when was I gonna do it?
Yeah. I remember seeing your wife pregnant in the back cooking.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
then a couple weeks later, she had the baby on a sling, and she was right back in the
Yeah.
kitchen. I was like, oh my gosh, the work ethic on that woman is insane.
Yeah, and then, you know, that's
she's amazing.
Yeah, and I love her for that. She crushes it, you know, and she keeps me motivated. You know, there's been being an entrepreneur, it's self-doubt is the name of the game.
Right.
And she kept me just, you know, focused and stuff like that. And there's many times I was just like, should I be doing this? Should I back out? You know,
Right.
it's like, and you have those like slow months, slow weeks. You're like, what am I doing? Why did I leave my job? You know, we were doing all right. We were doing great. Why am I here?
Right.
And then you just need that little voice in the back of your head to keep pushing and pushing.
Good for you, man.
Right
That's
on, man.
awesome.
So for all our peeps out there, it's actually pretty early still. It's actually 1:26. Well, it looks like we got the show started. So just so you guys know, this is Fred Talk. This is your weekly marketing podcast, IG live, YouTube video shenanigans that we do every week here. It is my awesome pleasure to welcome our man Erik Arizmendi from Taqueria Comalli. Love that place. If you have no idea about this place, you don't follow me on anything, because all I've ever done has been like tacos and tacos and tacos and all the special things he does, you know, all the great eats that he has. And you know, I was talking to Whitley and I said, hey man, I want to start getting all these local entrepreneurs in here. I wanted to have conversations with them. It's easy to sit there and be like, oh, I want to talk to like all those big celebrities like Gary Vee and like Tony Robbins and all those dudes, which is all fine and dandy, but they're just people I'll probably never meet, where I interact with entrepreneurs every week. And these are my celebrities. These are like my heroes and my peers. And that's who I wanted to talk to. And, you know, we've had Amanda on here. We've had Stefano on here. We've had Justin on here. And now this week we get to speak with the man that keeps me full-figured right here in West Reading. Well-rounded. Yes, well-rounded individual. I like that one. I'm definitely well-rounded. And I was just there Saturday because they celebrated their 1-year anniversary at the place, which is very wonderful. I was there for the grand opening. I was there for the 1-year anniversary. You had the La Conchita?
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I mean, that was killer. It was
that's
like,
a wild little thing.
It is wild. But the cool thing was, I was talking to my wife. I was like, he breaded the steak.
Yep.
Which is what my mom used to do when I was a kid.
Yep. Yeah, so, that's if you're Hispanic, you kind of every kind of genre of Hispanic has done that in one way or another.
Yeah.
So it's kind of paying homage to that. Yeah.
Yeah, I loved it. I think it was amazing, and I told my wife, I was like, I could have ate like 3 of these.
Yeah, I try not to sometimes.
Yeah, I just
that's the difficult part.
That's my problem. I'm like, fuck it, guac and chips. Yeah, I'll take that too.
Plate was like licked clean.
Yeah, it was
on
good.
Facebook.
It was super good.
I'm impressed you ate the pepper. Those the serrano peppers when they're roasted, they're intense.
Whip, bro.
I can't do those.
You said, did you regret it? I'm like, no, but it's just like, fuck.
Yep.
That's exactly what I said. So yeah, man. So thanks for coming in, dude.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
One of the cool cats of the area. We really love going to your place because it's good. Like, it's not even bullshit. Like, we're there a lot
every day
because it just tastes good.
I appreciate that.
You keep me and Dominic
well-rounded.
Yeah.
Yes, we're very well-rounded. We love going there, and So I want to know more about, like, yes, you had the taco truck and you went ahead and you opened up this great place, but like, where does it come from, dude? Like, where's the passion come from? Like, why were you like, you know what, I'm gonna make food as a career? Like, where does it all stem from?
Do you have, and like also going off of that, like, do you have any other entrepreneurs or business owners in your family, or were you kind of like the oddball out?
No, I was actually the trailblazer on that aspect, at least.
Awesome.
I kind of I grew up working in the restaurant industry. I started at pizza shops, washing dishes and delivering, and that's how I started. I never really realized I wanted to stay in the restaurant industry until maybe 10 years ago. When I was just working, I just knew I could do something better. I loved where I was at. It was fantastic. I had a wonderful mentor who used to own the restaurant, and I knew I needed something better, and I just didn't know what. I originally wanted to open a pizza shop, kind of do the same thing, but I feel like that's so redundant. And everybody does a wonderful job, but there's just so many awesome places in the area you can't compete. It'd be very difficult. But aside from that, I wanted something I truly felt passionate about, that I can do my thing, and then on the side keep adding little tits and like little pieces, like the specials and stuff like that, and never feel restricted. I feel like in pizza shops you kind of feel restricted. You have to follow something. If not, you're really not going to get that clientele. You have to know your demographic of where we're at. So like my passion was just being expressive, being able to do what I want to do with no restraints and no holds barred, essentially. And then once we decided to roll the dice on the taco game, it just felt right. As cliche as that sound, it just felt so perfect. I was like, I don't feel like I'm working. I mean, you do, but
yeah.
I was like, it doesn't feel like I'm being pressed to go to work. I don't feel like I'm showing up a minute and a half before I'm supposed to be there. Like, you show up early because you want to be there. You want to make that effort. And that's what changed my whole mentality of like work and just life and everything. So I just kind of focused on that for 2-3 years to save up money to get the food truck, and then the rest is history.
Yeah, man. I mean, and the cool thing is we first met on a whim, because I'm sitting back there. There's a cool story for you guys that don't know. I'm sitting at the side of my building. It's me, Justin Shank, and Adam Kennardine. I call him Moose. That's his nickname. He owns bench warmers. And we're just chilling in the back. We're smoking. I think we're smoking cigars maybe and just hanging out. And I was like, yeah, man, I'm going to have this grand opening and I need food. Like, what should I be doing? And Adam's like, yo, you should talk to my buddy, man. He has like a taco truck and they're really freaking good. And I'm like, are they good, bro? Or like, is he just your boy? You know what I mean?
Right,
like,
right.
I get all that.
That's fair, man. That's fair.
I'm like, he's like, no, it's good. Literally, like 2 minutes after that statement was made, Adam's like, and that's him right there. I'm like, what? So Erik starts walking up the stairs, right? And I'm like, that's the guy? And I start talking to you, and then you're like, oh, wait, hold up a minute. Let me just drop this off to my parents.
Yeah.
And I'm like, your parents live upstairs?
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, those are my parents. And I was like, holy fuck, man, I love your parents.
Yeah.
So it's like, Erik's parents live upstairs in the building. They're awesome people. I love them. His mom, Sylvia, actually made me mole and chicken. And yeah, you guys missed out. I got hungry.
Yeah.
But he's like, yeah, this is Erik. And then he goes upstairs. And I'm like, it's like fate. Like, we talked about you. You show up 2 minutes later.
Yeah.
Your parents live upstairs.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, oh, fuck that. This is the guy. Like, that was it. And it ended up to where, you like sold out except like one taco, I think.
Yeah, we sold out. It was nuts. We didn't anticipate, I didn't really know what to expect. Every event, everybody thinks, you usually anticipate 35 to 40% of the said crowd that's supposed to come to actually show up. That's how you base your numbers off of, at least for us. And I always, overstock just to make sure we don't run out. But that was pretty close.
There was a line the whole time.
That was pretty close. That was intense. I was not expecting that. I mean, we were good to go, but I was not expecting that at all.
That was awesome. Bill. That was the one bill I loved paying.
Yeah, I was all for it. That was so awesome, and I felt so grateful for that opportunity. That was I feel like that was a perfect exposure for us. That was great.
Yeah, I loved it, and we hung out, and I met you a couple times before that because you had your taco truck in Reading in the city. You had those a couple summer.
Yeah, we did. We did Penn Street Market, which was a really good program they did. Just kind of bring light to fresh food for the city and stuff like that. So they wanted to have some better quality vendors there, which I was pretty humbled to get asked to do. Yeah. And but yeah, I remember seeing you a couple times down there. That went pretty well.
Yeah, man.
That's awesome. When you first started, did you have a lot of support from your friends and family, or was it kind of like they were like, we'll see how he goes, or?
As far as what? As far as supporting your decision to take the leap?
Yeah. Did people believe in you? Did they think that you're nuts?
I have really good family, so they say they support you, but I mean they do. Don't get me wrong, but you completely understand their I don't know.
Their nervousness.
And on top of that, not only you're not even opening a restaurant, you're doing a food truck, which is uncharted territory in Berks County. Nobody knows what that even means.
Right.
And I love food trucks. I think food trucks are phenomenal. And there's some of the best food I've ever had has come out of a food truck.
Yeah.
And it's so underestimated. It's not, it's not the early 90s where it's just a roach coach, you know. And
those were good though.
They were good if you were drunk at 2 a.m.
Right.
Yeah.
But now there's some of the best food I've ever had comes out of that.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I ever got that idea, we were actually in Miami and Wynwood and had this little park where all it was rotating food trucks. Every week, a new food truck would come in. There'd be 10 of them, and then just keep rotating out. And it was so cool, and the food was awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome, but when I said that to especially my mentor who owned the restaurant, he's just like, you sure you're gonna be able to do that? And that kind of lit the fire even more.
Mm-hmm.
And then my wife was awesome. She's like, we'll do it, but you got to make sure this is what you want. I'm like, shit, I got to fully commit. I was like, I can't do part-time.
Yeah.
I was like, it's not working. I can't fully give my everything to the restaurant because I still have to do my other job over there. I was like, that's it. I'm just taking the leap.
Yeah.
And everybody was just like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Especially because we had a young kid and she was in school. I can't remember. No, she wasn't pregnant yet, but it was just just got to do it.
Yeah.
I was like, and it was a lot, and it was scary. There was a lot of scary moments because I went into it not knowing what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Our first event, there was a dozen things that went wrong, but we still had a great outcome. Everybody loved us. We did it first time out in some events. We had a huge long line, and that was just pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty. Then that kind of kept me motivated to keep pushing, and that was pretty cool.
That's awesome. Yeah, I was just talking to Freddie today. So my boyfriend and I, we have our own little things, my photography, and he does car detailing. And he's been at a job for 5 years, and he just made the leap of putting his 2 weeks notice in to go full time into the detailing because it's starting to really pick up, and he has contracts and stuff now. So we were literally just talking about this and how, his friends and some of his family kind of are questioning it, saying, oh, well, it's the stability aspect of things. You sure you want to do that? And it's really hard because when you have people that are really close to you that you admire or that you look up to, and they start their fears start to make you fearful, you know? And I was just telling him, it's that idea that entrepreneurs and business owners are risk takers.
Right.
And Freddie said a good example of this yesterday about it's kind of like when you go into a pool of cold water and you jump in and you just get right in, and then it's kind of you're not really sure what the temperature is going to be like, but once you get in, eventually you get used to it.
Right.
And you get into this, and then you're inviting people in.
Right.
And I feel like that's such a good analogy for entrepreneurship because even for me, losing my job and doing this and then also trying to get into my photography business more and push that, you get into this rhythm of like, okay, I'm here. It's still scary.
Right.
But like every day you're just pushing and pushing, and then it still starts to become a little bit normalized,
Right.
you know?
Yeah, and even now, there's a ton of things that I have ideas or I do that's still self-doubt.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, there's still things that I question whether I should be doing it or not. Am I doing the right things? And that's just part of it. You know, you like you said, you come to learn to accept it and just kind of do what you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Well, fear makes it worth it, right?
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, that's the whole thing, is that if it's
Right.
easy, everybody would do it.
Exactly.
And then it's just boring.
Right.
You know, like I was shitting bricks.
Yeah.
I mean, I forget about it. I was like, can I even do this on my own? Can I
Right.
even, you know, have an office building?
Right.
You know, and you're right. You know, as far as your wife backing you up, like you have to have that support system.
Yep.
You know, my wife is, you know, like the best thing, right, that ever happened to me. You know, other than my kids. My kids are great, but you know, you still need that one person that's gonna be like, yo, you can do it. It's
Right.
all right. Let's make it happen. I'm there. Without that, it's rough, because almost like your family, like, you know, my parents weren't huge supporters of entrepreneurship. You know,
Right.
they wanted me to go to college and get the job and retire when I'm 65, which is cool. And it's cool for people. Like, if you want to do that, it's totally cool, man.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Not against it. But, you know, because they fear for their children.
Right,
which
of course.
I get it. You know, they
Right.
just want they don't want bad things to happen. They don't want you to, you know, have to suffer or whatever. But nah, man, jumping in the pool is like one of the best things I think I've ever did. And I try to motivate Angie, let her know that it's cool to do the same thing. You know, like, she didn't go to college. She was like, cool, no problem, man.
Yeah,
Go
that's
figure
not a
some shit
bad
out.
thing. That's not a
No,
bad thing at
not
all. I mean,
man.
I dropped out of college, and it was I dropped out because I was going for computer science, and I didn't like it. You know, I knew I was going to be bored the rest of my life, and I didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
And then I just kind of got stuck working in the restaurant industry, and then one day I just got fired my ass, and I was just like, you got to do something better. You got to do something else. You got to be something. You know, if you're going to have a family later on, you have to have something that they're proud of.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that to me is what I was kind of raised on, is just be proud of what you have and who you are. And
Amen.
Yeah, I love that, man.
Yeah, it's easier said than done.
That's
Yeah.
for sure.
Now, the only other food truck I've seen in the area is Gourmand Cafe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
Did you take any direction from them?
I kind of did. Well, I got, at first when I started, I wanted to do what they did, is have the food truck in the restaurant long term. And I was not planning to open it within a year. I was actually planning to open a restaurant within 3 years after having the food truck.
Mm-hmm.
But I kind of sort of loosely based on what they had as far as like the idea, what they were doing. I thought they had a great thing going, and have going, should I say. Kind of loosely based on it. I mean, I don't know much about them, but just the idea and the principle of what they were doing.
And like, what for you, like, what was the biggest thing you had to change or do to adapt to going from the food truck to the restaurant? Like, besides finding the location and getting it, like, I used to actually live right next door, and like, that's where all my money probably would go now if I still lived there. But so I lived there when the kombucha place was there.
Oh yeah.
And so yeah, for someone who's out there, like my sister's looking at getting a food truck one day, but going from the food truck aspect to looking at restaurant, or why, if you thought you were going to do it for 3 years and then go into the restaurant business, why was that such like quicker for you, or, you know, what were your deciding factors?
Well, the difficult part was the transition from the food truck to the restaurant, was that our whole season was so fast paced, and everything we did, you always had a line. That's just how food truck events work. Not all of them. Some of them weren't like that, but you eventually got conditioned just to be busy, to be nonstop from, you know, gate open to gate close. And even though I worked in the restaurant so long, I was just so conditioned with that, and I thought that was going to transition to that. And that was my own, false misconception. That was my own fault, and I knew better than that. A mistake that I made, but it is what it is. The difficult part for me was the transition, knowing the volume wasn't going to be the same. It was more of you got to build it up, because at the end of the day, you're still a new restaurant. Even though you had a food truck, you still have a restaurant that you have to build up. And that was a little bit difficult to kind of transition to, because I overshot it in certain things that I did on the beginning, and that I could have toned down and been a little more frugal with, finances and things like that.
Okay.
I'm not big into that.
What's that?
I'm not big into being frugal with finances.
You know what? I was at first, And then my boss, well, my old boss, I still call my boss, but he was a very, very inspirational mentor as far as like business goes. He was just like, fuck your budget. You got to do what you got to do. Yeah. And you got to use, and you got to make happen what you need to happen. Because that money eventually will come, but you have to invest it. If not, you're going to be stale.
It's so true, man. I mean,
and it is. And it's little things that I was just, you know what? Like certain little things that I've done that literally have paid off tenfold. And it's just fantastic. And I was so nervous when I opened the restaurant that I was so frugal and so just set on this budget and not going beyond my percentages and numbers, and that I was just so fixed on it. And then the one day he just, out of nowhere, he just told me, I'm like, shit, he's right. And I was like, you know what, we're going to do it. And it worked. Yeah, and it worked. And it felt like I was less stressed and I was able to do what I originally wanted to do and just be creative and be me with the restaurant.
I'm
a
glad
lot
you
easier.
Did that. I'm glad you did that. Being creative and you can't be restricted. Like if you're restricted, then are you really an entrepreneur?
Right. Again, like you said, it's that whole risk factor. You know, that's what we live for. That's why we did it.
That's where we get our highs from. Yeah. Man. Like taking those chances. It's like, yeah, I'm gonna buy a fucking building because why not? And when it happens, you're like, holy shit.
Yeah. But you're turning back.
You jumped in the other pool. That's
right.
What happened, man. You're like, it's even colder in this one. But that's the fun part, dude. Is risk. Like if
the risk is fun, right?
You know, you have to have high risk to have high reward. It's like now you went ahead and just like bit the bullet and you opened up this place. And I remember you did it so quick. I knew you weren't ready to like.
Well, I opened in 5 weeks from the day I signed the lease to the day I opened the doors was 5 weeks.
Yeah, dude, and it's been. Actually, what's crazy is that I feel like you reached that goal of opening and you did it early, and you're getting better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and my whole thing is before I even got to, like, when I was kind of in the mix of getting the property, I was like, if I'm going to do it, I'm not playing any games. I was like, I'm literally opening in a month. It was a little bit over a month, but I was like, I'm going to open in a month. I was like, at the end of the day, the second I sign a lease, I'm bleeding money.
Yes.
So I was like, and I did all the work myself, literally everything except the plumbing, because obviously I'm not going to mess with that.
Electric's okay though.
Yeah, but, no, I didn't have to do an electrical, luckily, but I did
casually get electrocuted.
Every single thing. Like one of my favorite pictures I have is when my daughter and my wife was pregnant at the time. They're just helping me paint. It's like 8 o'clock at night, and they're just helping me paint. Little things like that I did. I stayed until 4 or 5 in the morning, a couple nights just painting and getting things ready. I did all the networking, all the wiring, everything. And because I wanted to make sure I knew how, like, if anything goes wrong, I know where I messed up and I got to fix it. Instead of having me to call somebody and spend more money, I can fix it myself.
Yeah.
And that's just my own personal mentality. A lot of people
Latino
don't.
Mentality, kid.
Yeah. A lot of people don't do that, and that's my own personal take. You know, I like to do everything as much as I can myself, so I know if anything ever goes awry, I can fix it.
I think what you said about like how you were just the minute you signed it, you were like, okay, we're gonna get this thing open. Is such a good, like, I don't know, thing for people that are looking to get into some sort of business, to have in the back of their minds. Because even for me, we were just talking about this, just a concept of us having not only the fear, self-doubt to combat, but that idea that everything has to be perfect to get something out.
Right.
But if you had done that, you would have waited a lot longer to open. Right. It would have been, rather than just like going full force and then tweaking things as you go, or building that momentum.
Right.
To have the finances to change things later on that you wanted to. Because even for me, like, I feel like that's a big thing. Like, I don't know what the pricing is that I want, you know, and he's just like, you just have to do it. You have to set the standard and then just go for it, because if you wait, the longer you wait, that's the brand that you're creating.
Right.
You know, like on me, it's like the longer I wait to standardize pricing or standardize a look or a website or whatever, that's what I'm putting out, whether or not I know it's conscious or subconscious.
No, and I agree. I mean, I think when I opened, I technically wasn't ready, but I just wanted it open. You know, I wanted it open. I know what I wanted, and I knew where I wanted to be. And I was like, I have to start somewhere. It's not going to be pretty, and it's not going to be, you know, the best thing yet, but with time.
Yeah.
What do you, well, with that being said, like, where do you see yourself? Let's do it, 5 years? Like, what do you think's gonna happen?
Pretty aggressive plans. I want to have. I'm getting another food truck hopefully in the next few months, so I can have two. I want to eventually open up another location. Still don't know where. I kind of have some good ideas, but the bigger thing I want to do that I feel like is very lacking in the Mexican community in this area is I want to open up my own tortilleria, which is we've had some in the city before, but I feel like it's that whole old school Mexican mentality where make it cheap, make it happen, make it go. That's the one thing when I opened the restaurant, I wanted to completely go against the grain with that. Is everybody has a mentality that Mexican food has to be cheap and quick. Not that it can't be quick, but cheap and just whatever. Mexican food's known to be a cheaper option. Something you just get, a couple bucks here and there, you're good to go. And I kind of wanted to change that. And that was the difficult part, is getting not only, my whole demographic, but just everybody in general to understand that what I'm putting out might be a little more pricey, but what you get is a better quality product. And I refuse to succumb to that. I refuse to succumb to the low standard that unfortunately has been set by a lot of places that, get cheap stuff and just sell it.
Well, that's a great point, because I literally talk with Dominic and we'll sit there and go, okay, you want to try something different today? And we're like, okay, yeah. It doesn't happen. We end up going there anyway. Now, we don't go out to lunch every day. So it's not like,
right.
But like, there's actually been times where I'm like, you getting lunch today? He's like, yeah. We get in the truck and I just drive right there. He's like, you don't even ask anymore, do you? I don't. But that's a testament to how good the food is. And at the end of the day, man, I mean, listen, I know food, all right? I know that's one thing I know how to do is eat. And I love eating. It's like my favorite pastime after baseball, right? And I just love it. And me and my wife were talking about how, like, we've always loved your food. We enjoyed it on the food truck. We enjoyed it at the grand opening. We enjoyed it when we were there when you first opened officially, last year's Day of the Dead and all that stuff. And then we had another conversation again at your anniversary this year, and she's sitting there eating your nopal, right? The cactus taco.
Oh yeah, yep.
And she's like, it's even better now.
Yeah,
like,
that's
she
my
said,
whole
like,
thing.
the skill set, if he's used to it or whatever it is, she's like, he literally like stepped up his game for where he was a year ago to where she literally enjoyed it even more. And that's the one thing, man. I'll tell anybody that does food or restaurants, I'm like, listen, it might be expensive, but if you put out the best freaking taco on the planet, they will come.
Right.
Yeah, and that's that's one thing I kind of pride myself on is I never want to become stale. So whether that means new items or specials or just doing more is literally everything. I'm always trying to figure out how I can make it better, and that's where the idea of opening up a tortilla came from. My tortillas are pretty awesome.
Yes.
A couple of them, I wish they could be a little bit better, but that's just me being just over analytical and just being picky. But I feel like if I open my own place up, I can do it the way I want. I can set those standards of importing my own corn from Mexico where it's organically grown and where the flavor is unchanged and you get the true taste of a tortilla. I feel like the tortilla is like the mecca of Mexican cuisine. And if it's done right, it doesn't even need anything but a little bit of salt and a little bit of lime.
Yep.
And I'm not a fan of corn tortillas.
Most people aren't. And that's the crazy part is I can't tell you how many people come into the restaurant, get a little upset that they have flour. We don't have flour. So, I let them know that explain the quality of the tortilla and everything, and they give it a shot, and they love it.
Yes.
And it's just, again, you've never had anything that's you're always just conditioned to have mediocre stuff. That's what's put out, and I refuse to kind of succumb to that. I refuse. I keep looking for better. I keep doing better. I keep finding new sources to get all my product. Like even down to my eggs, I get them down from a local farm in Myerstown. Little things like that, and little details is what I feel like I pride myself on to build it up.
The devil's in the details, bro.
It
I mean,
is.
El Gallo
all
is
the
my
time.
favorite. I say it constantly, but my favorite taco is the Gallo.
Yeah, it's
chorizo and eggs, bro. So that Myerstown place you're getting your eggs from is the shit.
It's small size brown eggs that they're more expensive, but it's what you get. It's what you get. It's why it's $4.25 for a taco. And everybody's like, oh, you must be making a killing. It's like, well, I'm technically making the same margins that the other places are making. It's just that I'm putting out a better product that costs a little more. So my margins are the same. It's just better quality.
And for those out there that don't know what a tortilleria is.
Oh, well, sorry. A tortilleria is a place that produces tortillas. So,
strictly
tortillas. That's all they do.
No, so make it. And
it's just the processing. So in Mexico, a big thing is you go to a tortilleria to get your tortillas. You don't buy them at the grocery store. You don't buy them at the market. You literally go to a specific place to get your tortillas, and that's where you go. It's just kind of like going to your coffee shop.
Yeah,
it's the same kind of concept.
That's pretty cool.
I think that's lacking, and not only for the Mexican community, but I think it's lacking for just everybody who wants to enjoy a good tortilla or doesn't even know what a good tortilla is.
Because I didn't know what that really was, and I'm Mex-American, so so that's good to know.
And I think my favorite part about your tacos is that, like, you do have an attention to detail, but they're so simple. They're so simple, and they're so banging.
Thank you. Yeah, no, it's simplicity. So I have my simple, straightforward tacos, and then I have my really weird ones that I like. And all those came from just me being a kid and making my own little tacos as a kid. When my mom would make food, and I just put stuff together and make a taco, and that's what I liked. So, like, the gallo, that's what I used to do. Like, literally, the gallo is what I used to eat as a kid. Like, so I used to just pile that stuff on. I mean, I made it a little more clean cut this time, but
right.
That's what I used to eat. Or like the brulee, which is the bananas and the rice and the mole. That was one of my favorite things as a kid.
So that's where the passion of cooking came from, your mom?
Yeah, yeah. My mom she's killer.
I smell the passion.
She's so good. Like she's incredible with her cooking.
That's
and
awesome.
She's so passionate. The only difficult part is trying to get recipes out of her. It's an old school mom. She's just, there's like a pinch of this, a pinch of that. I'm like trying to write it down. I'm like, what's a pinch? What's the measurement of a pinch?
A pinch or a punch?
Yeah.
I felt so special the day that my grandmother gave me my grandfather's guacamole recipe.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, this is like a Bible verse right here.
Yeah.
I was so happy. So funny.
And your mom's the sweetest lady too. Like,
yeah, she has a big heart.
She's like the sweetest person.
I think what you're saying about, like, just, like, the quality that you're wanting to put out and, like, people not being used to the pricing or things like that is also just something that's very, like, I think across the board for most entrepreneurs, too. Like, we were talking about that with my photography. But it's just an understanding of, like, when you put out these certain pricing and you put out quality work or quality food, you're going to attract that audience.
Right.
If you put out cheap pricings, then you're going to like attract the cheap audience.
You're right, absolutely. And that's one thing I refuse to budge on. And it's just I know the demographic I want, and I know the demographic that I'm aiming for, and it's finally happening.
Yeah.
And it's little by little it happens, and I can't tell you how many if I had any problems at the restaurant.
Yeah.
Everybody's really nice that comes in. Everybody's super awesome. It just provides a great atmosphere, not only for my employees, which is paramount, but for my customers.
I want to be seen as quality, and so I have to believe my own worth.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. And I think in this day and age, I think things are changing a little bit. Now people are starting to be very about quality. They're starting to look for something better. This is great, but is there something better? Like every time you go out to eat, you want to go to a better restaurant. You want to get better food, or you want to get the best detailing. Nobody asks anybody have recommendations for a mediocre detailer.
Yeah.
Nobody. You'll never see that. Everybody in this day and age says we're the best tacos. Where's the best detailer? Who's the best photographer? And very rarely will you see the cheapest. And again, that's not the market you want to be in, but very rarely you'll see somebody. What's the cheapest detailer I can get?
Yeah.
Or whatever it is you're doing. It's not. People are more honed in now on quality than ever before, and I feel like that's a market that definitely is being executed pretty well.
Because I feel like even for like Freddie and like digital design, FXV, it's like the same idea. Like when he talks about with me, when he first started, his pricing might have been at XYZ. But now he is at a point where he's branded himself in this business to target somewhere like higher end clients, and
Right.
that's where he wants it to be. He wants his brand to be considered higher end quality.
Right. Absolutely.
And so those are the people that are willing to pay that,
Right. No,
Yeah.
absolutely.
I want to be the Gaio of digital marketing. I mean, that's for sure, man. I want to be the Comalli of marketing.
Oh man, I'm humbled.
Yeah, man. I mean, I just can't say enough good things about Erik. And one of the best things I think he ever did was over the beginning of the pandemic was he actually set up a program where he was asking people around the area to buy trays of tacos, and we were donating them to first responders in the area.
Yeah.
Which is a very, very cool project that he actually allowed me to help him with. I designed a quick little flyer for him. It was called Tacos for Heroes. And I love the whole idea behind it. I love that he was in a time when you could have been like, woe is me. This is terrible. I just opened up the place. You literally just opened up the place and shit hit the fan.
Yeah,
and you could have just, you could have just sat in the corner and been like, well, I can't do anything about it. Shit happens. You were like, nah, man, you know what? The first thing I'm going to do is figure out how to help my community and just keep things rolling, And I think one of the best things you told me was that, because I saw what was happening. And I saw the social media, and I saw you were delivering. I mean, I think I bought like 4 or 5 trays myself because the first responders were doing such a great job during the whole thing. And I talked to you, and you were like, yeah, man. I was like, so, man, you probably did great. And you were like, nah, man, I just did enough to survive, but at the same time, help the community. So you weren't even being greedy because you even discounted the prices of the tacos on top of that.
Yeah, I was just about breaking even on the trays, and for me it was just to kind of help. I knew what my wife was going through at the ER and stuff. It wasn't fun, and I know I have a lot of family that's in as first responders, the police officers and everything, and it's not fun.
Right.
They do stuff that I couldn't do, like the stuff my wife does. There's no way, no way I would ever do that, and they're overlooked. They're overlooked and underappreciated sometimes, and we take advantage of them. So I kind of want to do a little something, and at the same time, I still wanted to stay relevant. At the end of the day, I still have a business to run, so I was, I wanted to do both at the same time, and this was perfect. I don't think I think without that, I don't know if my business would be where it's at today. I think that kind of saved us during the pandemic. We didn't make money off it, but it saved us to stay there. I still have people that come in. They're like, what, to let you know, my husband works at the fire department. Thank you for dropping stuff off. We still come in, once a week. And that was my goal, is just to kind of say, we still care. We're not just here for business. We care. The community is why we're here. The community is who we feed and who's patrons at our restaurants. There's no reason to be greedy. There's no reason to kind of strangle every dollar out of them that you can. The one thing that my mentor told me is like, don't be greedy. You're still a business person, but don't be greedy. Don't try to take every dollar from. Be honest, be open, and just do your best with it.
Yeah, I mean that's being a good human.
Yeah.
Right.
Like what a concept, man. You know what I mean? Like, and people don't. I try to figure. I think what's great is I'm happy I asked that question because you explained it in such a perfect way. Because I struggle with how do I tell people that they should be helping the community, because it does help you, back, which is, and you don't know how to say that without sounding like a dick, So, but it's like, but community should come first, and if you put the community first, you'll be just fine,
right?
Because they're gonna help you next,
right?
And so I really loved what you did with that. I thought it was freaking beautiful, and I still love the fact that you're like, hey man, can you like help me make a flyer? And I was like, yes, I will help you.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome,
We're gonna
man.
go for it and do this because I love helping everybody. I don't care who it is. So, I mean, kudos for that, and I think it just shows to your testament of not only being a great person for the community, but being, again, a freaking proud Latino entrepreneur.
Yeah, very proud,
like,
man.
fucking, like, yo, we don't back down. Shit hits us, it's like, fuck you.
No.
I'm getting right back up.
I feel like I'm not just saying that because I'm here, but honestly, the marketing, I feel like I didn't hone in on the marketing at the start when I should have.
And a lot of people don't know this, but Freddie doesn't even run your website. You do that all by yourself.
He does everything.
Yeah, I do.
Social media is great, by
Yeah,
the
I
way.
do my social media myself, but I mean, I still did stuff on social media. I never let down on that. But I feel like the marketing, as far as sending menus out and everything like that, I really didn't do that until actually the week of the pandemic is the first week I went out, which was horrible timing. But
Oh, I think I remember that.
I was
That's
so
right.
upset. But that's when I finally decided. I was like, great. I finally decided to take the leap and worldwide pandemic. But
well,
I feel like that's one thing I definitely should have jumped on earlier and set aside some more marketing dollars towards that. I feel like that was I definitely saw a huge increase in business once I started doing that. And not just the business that comes in once because they got the menu in the mail and then never comes back. Like sustained repeating customers, marketing of that level was definitely something I wish I would have done a lot sooner.
So where did you get the information to send it out to people, or was it just you?
Well, growing up in the restaurant industry, I knew you send menus out. I mean, there's dozens of companies that do it. But actually, the one day I was just at Adam at Benchwarmers, and he got new menus. I was like, oh, these look sharp. And I just grabbed one, and always in the back, there's always information who makes them and everything like that. And I look at the company. I was like, all right, let's look it up. The big thing with me, I have to get everything local. I do everything as local and small business as I possibly can.
Preach.
There's only certain things you can't, within limits you can't do, but everything local. So I looked them up. They're out of Moan. Perfect. They did the menu, and it looks fantastic. They mail them out. I think this is the third campaign we're doing with them, and they do great. But little things like that, I super wish I would have done that way earlier. And that's more, towards my business because the menus and seeing, visual displays of what we have and, being visual, that was pretty important. And I even saw my social media following kind of boost up from that.
Yeah.
Because on there I had a little QR code they scan and takes you right to our Facebook page, so little things like that. But that's one thing I feel like I wish I would have done sooner.
Yeah, I always tell we were talking about people in the area, and their social medias and who does good and who could probably do better, and I always say yours is one of my favorites to look at.
Oh, thanks.
Because
I appreciate
it's so
that.
colorful, the way you present your food and a mix of the drinks and all that kind of stuff. It's visually very appealing every time I look at it.
Yeah, and that's kind of what, like she said, we have simple food, but that doesn't mean it can't be fun to look at.
Yeah.
And that's why my gallo, I was originally going to go with a different tortilla, but I knew the blue one was perfect for it. And the blue corn just has a little bit of a different flavor to it too, and so that added a little more enhancement to that. But just visually, it looks pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So the whole podcast, you've been talking about mentorship. Do you still have a mentor to this day?
Yeah, I still talk to him. He actually just sold his business at the beginning of the year, and he moved down to Florida.
Awesome.
Actually, a month ago. And I still talk to him. He helps me out a lot.
When did he first come into your life?
When I started working for him. I worked for him for 10 years at Paradise by the Slice in Warrensville.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I worked there for 10 years, and then we just clicked.
That's awesome.
He's a very intelligent businessman, and the reason I like him, he does things with no bullshit. He doesn't do he sees the angles that you should, and teaches you just got to work it. There's no way around it but to work it.
And what is some piece of advice you would give to young entrepreneurs that are looking to own a business or get into business themselves? That just haven't made that final push, or they are and maybe they're discouraged.
You just got to take the leap. It's difficult, and it's the most difficult. It's probably one of the most difficult things I've ever done is leave my job. It was super difficult, especially I was telling her I'm leaving my mentor. I was literally his right-hand man, and I'm leaving. Not only that, but the financials. It's just you just got to do it. You just got to do it. If you know you're ready, and you'll know you're ready, you just got to jump. It's so hard, and it's not easy, and it's every single minute of it you're gonna doubt. The second you walk out that door after giving your notice, you're gonna doubt it. But it's if you know you have your plan down and it's gonna work in your mind, do it. Worst thing that's gonna happen, you can try it again.
Yep.
But yeah, because I was telling, I don't know if I was telling you or somebody else. I was like, what's the worst thing that happens? you're not going to die.
Right.
Like, I know it sounds so like, crazy, but like, think about it. Will you die? No.
Right.
You just get up, dust yourself off, and just do it again and try something else.
And what I told my boyfriend was like, what Gary Vee says, like, the worst thing you can do is like not do it and always have those life regrets.
Right.
The worst.
And then, you just get another job.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
Right.
Like, you just go back out, and we live in such a time where actually, like, there are more jobs than ever.
Right.
And you'll probably most likely get into the same field you were in. And then, that's it. But at least you did it, and you can feel proud for taking that leap.
Right. Right.
And best case scenario, it works out. And you then can, like, continue your dream and make it a reality.
Right. Another thing that drove me is, what if somebody else does it? And I didn't take the leap, and they did, and it worked.
Yeah.
And I could have done it, but somebody else, took the leap. Just that mentality for me was pretty monumental to drive.
I feel like we see that a lot. Like, I see so many ideas.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I had that idea.
Right.
Oh,
Right.
man,
Right.
yeah.
But when is it going to be your idea? That
Right.
You do it?
Right.
When are you going to have the balls?
Right.
So
I mean, that's pretty much it. So, man. So, shameless plug time. Tell us what's up, man. Where can they get your tacos?
So we're located in West Reading, right at 701 Court, right between Reading Ave and Penn Ave, right behind Nona Albies and right down the street from B2. Kind of tucked away, which I like. I like being, the place you find. But,
Colorful benches outside.
Yeah, where there's
colorful benches.
Colorful benches. You can't miss those. We're open 7 days a week. We put out some pretty awesome stuff, I feel. And, you can meet my entire crew, which is killer. They do a great job. They do awesome, and they wouldn't be, I wouldn't be as far as I am without them. They're a big part of the business too.
Awesome.
If you get lost, call me.
Yeah.
I'll tell you where it is.
We'll link all his social medias into the descriptions on this video. And we're just really grateful that you came.
Oh, it's my pleasure.
Lunch
Thank you,
hour.
guys. Thank you so much.
No, I appreciate it.
Speak some life into people.
Yeah, it was a really great podcast.
Oh,
thank you.
Really great stuff.
Good. And it was a great conversation.
Yeah, it was.
It was a conversation.
It was a conversation.
There
We're getting
you
better,
go.
guys.
We're getting better.
It's
We
not
promise.
like robot. But yeah, so next week we do have another guest. We'll be announcing him later this week. So like every time, guys, just let's get out there and create something awesome today. Go vote and have a great week.
Thank you so much, guys.
Thanks for showing up, man.